You've been speaking with students and parents. What's the latest for us?
Yeah, we have been talking with students over the past couple of hours as they've slowly but surely started to get released back into their loved ones' arms. I want to get straight to the sound that we heard from Camille. Here's what she heard inside the school.
Well, first, how you doing?
I'm good. A little traumatizing. It's not really something someone should ever have to go through. It's not something I ever want to go through. Yeah, it's traumatizing. A lot of people were crying.
Were you one of them?
Yeah, I was one of them. I was crying. I didn't want to die that way.
You heard her say, "I didn't want to die that way." I also talked with a student who was in 10th grade who said, "I thought I was going to die. I was about to walk out of my classroom just moments before to go to the bathroom." It's that scary thought that's starting to set in with students now, hours later. One girl said she heard the gunshots, but it didn't even hit her that something was happening until law enforcement came in and told them to run outside. That's the feeling here. Now I want to step aside because we are right across from the school so you can get a look at what it's feeling like and what it looks like out here. Still a really heavy law enforcement presence. Now we are getting some news from CNN. They are reporting that Apalachee High School did receive a phone call this morning that warned about shootings. CNN is saying officials are telling them that. They're saying that this high school, Apalachee High School, got an earlier phone threat. That's according to multiple law enforcement officials, all coming from CNN. Now, again, we've been talking with students who heard those gunshots. We've been talking with loved ones who are waiting to hear from their students. I heard Cody mention this earlier, but something to keep in mind out here, not only with the mass amount of law enforcement and parents and loved ones and students, is that these parents and loved ones are trying to get connected back to their students. Signal out here is rough. Texts are not going through. Phone calls are barely going through. So that's just adding to an already heightened stress environment when you're talking about something so harrowing, so awful happening going on. You, one, can't get to your student, you can't get to your child, you can't get to your grandchild, you can't get to your friend's child just to see if they're okay, and you're not even being able to hear from them either because those texts and phone calls aren't going through. Some of the students also telling me that they didn't have their phones on them at the school, or when law enforcement came in, they had to leave their phones behind or weren't able to grab their phones. So they're telling their parents there's a shooter, but then they're not able to text them again because they left their phone in the classroom when they had to get out. Now, once students were moved out of the school, they were moved to the football field. Parents were telling me that. I talked with a neighbor who came out to check on her friend's child. You talk about the community feel out here. That neighbor heard from her friend. The friend was saying, "There's a shooting at my kid's school. I'm an hour away. How quickly can you get there?" That neighbor dropped everything she was doing to get to that student. She was not able to pick that student up, but she was able to go up to him, check on him, give him a hug, make sure he was okay. She was telling me that he was actually with the principal when the shots first started firing, and she said that the principal told him to run and not look back. Can you imagine hearing that as a child? Because just hearing it as a reporter talking to these folks has been incredibly emotional. I cannot tell you the amount of hugs I have shared with people off camera when they're walking by us. We're just asking them, "Is your loved one okay? Is everything good?" And they're either saying, "Yes, thank God," or "I just got to speak with them," or "I just got to hug them." And it is emotional out here, guys. There's this feeling of community, of everyone just wanting to help, because it was hard to get down here. Now the road has opened up a bit since we've been down here for hours now, but when we first got here, you had to park and walk. That one neighbor telling me that she parked and walked 2.5 miles just to try to get as close as possible to lay some hands on these kids. Because you think about it, it's one thing to get a text from your child or from your grandchild or from a loved one saying, "There's a shooter, I'm okay." It's a totally different thing to physically see your child, to physically get to hug them. Now, when we talk about the kids being out on the football field, you've seen that they're still coming out from the football field. It's been taking hours. One of the folks I talked with whose loved one heard the shots. They said they were able to check in on them on the football field, but that child had to stay out there because they were going to get questioned by the GBI. So they said that could take a couple of hours. Now, it's been a couple of hours since I spoke with them, but that's maybe one of the reasons why this is taking a little bit of longer than many people would have expected, which of course always feels even longer when you're just waiting to see your kid again. So it does sound like they're at least letting parents go up and reunite with the kids if they are still getting questioned and having to wait for a bit before they can actually be released and come home. Now, some of the kids I was also talking to said they don't plan to come to school anytime soon. They're still really processing this and trying to sit with this. But again, a really heavy presence here. We're talking local, state, and federal here, all coming in on this investigation, and the entire community really just hurting today, guys.
Understandably so. Our Molly Oak live for us at the school where she's been talking with students and parents all afternoon, hearing story after story. Many of those students who heard the gunfire, some who were close by and really saw what happened, others just running for their lives, not knowing what was going on. As she mentioned, there is still a large police presence there at Apalachee High School in Winder. Also, there are still a number of students. We saw a live shot about 30 minutes ago of, I'd say maybe 30 or 40 students still on the track near the football field waiting to be reconnected with their parents, as we have seen little by little that number go down as those parents have been showing up to the school for the last 5 hours.
And right now we are continuing to hear from our various local leaders. We have a statement from Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock we want to show you right now from his response. He says, "My heart breaks for the families of the victims at Apalachee High School, and every student and the entire Winder community is in my prayers, but we can't pray only with our lips. We must pray by taking action." That coming from Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock. He went on to say, "Until we center the people and start a serious bipartisan conversation in Washington and state capitals across the country to advance popular common sense gun safety reforms, the sad truth is it's only a matter of time before this kind of tragedy comes knocking on your door." Again, that coming from Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock today in response to the shooting today at Apalachee High School.
We have also, Jennifer, heard today from a number, as you mentioned, a number of elected officials, including Governor Brian Kemp, Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens, all the way up to the White House. President Joe Biden issuing a statement along with his press secretary, speaking at the beginning of her conference, her news conference earlier today. A lot of statements, a lot of prayers, a lot of support, but a lot of people saying you got to do more than that to prevent something like this from happening again. As you're taking a look at some video from earlier today, shortly after this all unfolded, around 9:30 this morning, when the first calls came in to police about shots being fired